Hello everyone, welcome back. This is a bit of an unusual one. As you recall, recently I put up a video about belly dancing. Well, where they were rehearsing is a place called Ela Rose Studios, and that's where I am right now with Emilio, who owns the studio. Hi Emilio.
Hello Cliff.
How you going?
Good.
And I asked Emilio if I could come back someday and find out about the history, so that's what we're going to do.
Fantastic. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, tell us about this. I'm quite impressed. I mean, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like a Parisian cafe.
Yeah, well, the theme of the space has always been growing. It's always generating. I think, at the start it was about celebrating the history behind the venue, right, of the owner. And the connection that owner had to my family, which dates back to World War II.
I remember you saying that the other day. So let's go right back there. Let's start at
the very beginning. So growing up, my father came here in the 1950s to escape the displacement that was caused by the war of many people who lost their homes and so forth. So he came here when he was 18. And he's obviously found a wife in Italy and brought her here. 3 kids, and he was a musician, my father. My father played the piano, accordion, and the saxophone. So he had a passion for music, but unfortunately due to circumstances, he wasn't able to fulfill his passion to continue because of the restrictions of the war. But also when he came to Australia, where he had to find work, musicians weren't paid that well, so he had to find other means to make ends meet. He did it for a little while, and he encouraged us kids to follow music. And so I think in the end, I had a percussion background, so I love percussion. So that's how I started. But I was always very theatrical and dramatic. Mum used to always tell me that he used to create theatre shows when I was a child to bring laughter back into the family. And Mum reminded me that not long ago that he used to dress up with all these clothes from our cupboards, Mum and Dad, and used to create this theatre show. So I think it was in my blood ever since I was young.
Right.
And so I decided there and then, even though I was probably too young to know what a career was, that dance, music and theatre was going to be my passion.
Right, okay.
So growing up, that was my vision. My brother and sister also had music in their blood. My sister played the piano and my brother played the guitar, but they didn't follow through to continue in their adulthood. Whereas I went from drums to percussion, playing in bands, to taking on dance and theatre. So during my teenage years, my father would say to me, "So have you decided what you want to do in life?" And I said, "Yeah." And I remember one day he sat me down and said, "What are you wanting to do?" He goes, "Oh, I think I want to dance and have my own theatre." And you can imagine an old Italian man with his old ways coming from war. The response wasn't too welcoming. It was just like, get a real job. Just like he was told to when he would try to continue his music. So he was trying to protect me from being hurt and struggle, which is what he experienced during that time. But I never gave up. So to please him, I ended up doing a degree and a master's in nutrition. So I became a consultant dietitian, worked in major hospitals. I spent a season with the Collingwood Football Club. So I had all these accolades in this industry of, where I have a master's course. I thought Dad would be happy about that. So I said to Dad, "Look, I've got a master's in nutrition." And he turned around and goes, "Oh, could you imagine one more year you could become a doctor?" So I could never please him. It was always this never-ending chase for pleasing my father. But in the end, I decided, look, I've done as much as I would like to do in my academic years. And I remember once I was working at the Peter MacCallum Cancer Institute here in Melbourne. And I got really sick in my 5th year being there, I think it was. And I went to see a specialist there at Peter MacCallum, and they came up to me and goes, "Look, judging from the tests that we've done, there's a good chance that you've either got AIDS or lymphoma."
Oh, wow.
Thinking, what a call. I said, "What?" So further tests show that it was more lymphoma than anything else. So that devastated me.
I can imagine.
I couldn't tell my parents, my family, because I imagined they'll be so distraught they wouldn't know how to cope with it. So
Okay.
I kept it to myself.
Yep.
And then I said to myself, you know what, if I'm going to be told to leave this world, so to speak, then I'm going to I'm going to do what I've always wanted to do. So I quit my well-paying job, didn't tell my parents why. I was hiding the fact that this diagnosis came to me, and they couldn't understand what on earth I did, why I chose to quit. And I went overseas, and I spent time touring around the world, learning about dance from different cultures. Went to different theatre shows, from Moulin Rouge to the Spanish shows, gypsies dancing in Spain, to spending time with street kids in Brazil, learning tango from an elderly couple in an alleyway in Argentina.
Wow.
So I just spent my life just doing that. And when I say my life, it wasn't all my life. I mean, I spent probably a good 2 to 3 months.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. Just absorbing that and learning that. And
in a way, you were learning your trade.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowing that it could be my last days here, or last year here, depending on what the tests we're going to bring out. But I decided it's not what I wanted to do, to get treatment and to go through this whole process. I just couldn't fathom that, because I could see what a lot of my patients were going through, and some did well, some not so well.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, no, that's not my calling. So I went out there with a bang, and I came back after 3 to 4 months travelling, and the specialists kept trying to contact me all this time, saying, listen, are you going to take this seriously, or we need to review where we're going to take with this diagnosis. But he said he needed to do a couple more tests to make sure exactly what it was. But he was quite adamant that it was
he thought it was lymphoma.
Cancer,
Okay.
Anyway, I went back to see him reluctantly. I didn't want to go, but I did when I came back to Melbourne. Did some tests, and then I was asked to come back again to review them. And when I did, he said to me, what's your secret? And I said, what do you mean? There is no sign of anything anymore, like no lymphoma, nothing. What did you do? And I told him, well, doctor, I followed my passion. That was my cure. And he just couldn't quite comprehend that. And he goes, fair enough. And so we never saw each other again. And for me, I realised, wow, this is a huge learning curve that I could really share with others. That that sharing a passion or chasing your passion is a way of or following your path will cure you from illness. Sometimes I feel like illness was a blocking stage, so you're going the wrong way.
Well, to be honest with you, the way I put it, the way I see it, because I've had some health issues myself, but I think stress of trying to do what you're expected to do actually creates the illness.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that, I know for a fact that a little bit like you, I've just stepped back and I don't worry about stuff anymore, and I'm healthier.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And I think what really gelled for me when I came back was I would have a lot of conversations with patients at Peter Mac. They were on their last days, last weeks.
Yeah.
And the most common thing they'd say to me is, if I had my time again, I would.
Yeah.
Whether it be singing or dancing or travelling the world, whatever it might be.
Whatever it is,
And that really came back home to me, thinking, wow, that's so strong in terms of the message that I've experienced coming back. But so when I came back, my partner at the time said to me, hey, let's go and see a Latin American Salsa Championships that was held at Moorabbin Town Hall in 2006. I still remember it clearly. And we went there just as spectators. So we went in there, and there were these, I think, 21 or 22 professional couples in black gowns. They were warming up for the competition, and they were doing flips and jumps, and look, it was crazy. And I'm thinking, wow, I wish one day I could do that. Which, I knew inside of me I had the potential to, but I just didn't see it at that point. I just didn't have enough of myself to believe in myself that I could be at their level. And so I was sitting there with my partner at the time, and all of a sudden there was an announcement. So before the competition would start, the commentator made an announcement saying, look, we're offering a wildcard entrant for anyone in the stadium to come down and take on these 21 or 22, I don't remember exactly how many numbers there were, couples, for the title. And I said to myself, what sort of goose would go out there and embarrass themselves? And I thought maybe it was an entertainment value for the audience to have this couple that absolutely from nowhere. Anyway, at that time, my partner at the time left. She said she had to go to the bathroom. No problem. Anyway, all of a sudden, I heard this announcement. We've now got our wildcard entrant. Please welcome to the floor, Emilio, and then my partner at the time. And at first it didn't click because I'm thinking it was someone with similar names to ours. But Emilio wasn't a very common name back then.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, this is bizarre. And it didn't click until my partner came with the bib number.
Oh, so she'd gone and...
She had gone and signed us up as the wildcard entrant. And I think, so at the time I didn't like her at all. I was very upset. I was angry because I grew up in a family where my father would always say to me, "You're never good enough. You'll come to nothing," and that was coming in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "You're gonna fail. You're gonna be an embarrassment." Like, I think later on, I understood why my father was like that, because in his upbringing, he was dealt with that.
Yeah. He look, everyone's life takes a journey, and in the case of your father, he knew no better, and he was trying to do within what his means. And I get that. That's just And in a way, I think if I'm understanding what you're saying, is that some of that rubbed off on you when you were holding back because you had self-doubts.
Yes.
So anyway, I'm curious to see where this went.
Absolutely. And I think at that stage, I still looked up to my dad as a figure that I looked up to. And it wasn't until later I realised the things that he experienced, because he would never share it with us. So we had to really tease it out, sometimes through my mother, to find out, he went through a bit of a hell of a growing up period. So that all made sense later on. But at that point, I didn't know about all that.
Yep.
Anyway, so we got down to the dance floor, and there were like all these couples are just staring at us, and then there were hundreds and hundreds of people in that. I don't know how many were in that. It was just completely full. The stadium was completely packed, and then there were 5 rounds, and we thought, well, and all these judges were around us, just with their pens or pencils, whatever they had, ready to mark all the competitors. What they do is they tap you on the shoulder if you're eliminated.
Oh, okay.
So that's what they do after each round. So I was just shaking. I was shaking. I had my dad's voice in my head saying, "You're not going to be good enough." I was so embarrassed. I was perspiring. And my partner goes, "Don't worry, let's have some fun," she was saying. I'm thinking, yeah, it's good for you to say that. But I was in tears. I was a mess.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to the floor. They started the first song. I was shaking still. And what they did, I think what got us through the first round was that all the professional dancers, they encircled us, so they pushed us into the centre.
Right, okay.
So they could be seen by the judges and be scored and so forth and be marked, and then they can be seen. And I didn't clip what was going on. I was just trying to adjust that we're on the dance floor with all these professionals. And we were looking around, I could see all these professionals doing these lifts and the jumps, and it's like, whoa, what are we going to do to compete with that? So I remember when I was on tour, when I say on tour, I was backpacking around the world, learning about culture and dance. You know, I remember the high-level class of Moulin Rouge. I remember the Spanish clubs and pubs that had the flamenco. Then I went to the island where they had the Irish dancing. All these semi-professional people. And I went to tango to watch professional tango in one of the famous halls. But what really drew me out of my tours were when I was backpacking with the Brazilian street kids.
Okay.
And a lot of the times during Carnival, a lot of the houses rent their homes to overseas guests that come in for Carnival. And they then hire maids to provide food and look after the place. Okay. And usually the maids have kids. In this case, there were 2 kids. One was a 7-year-old girl. The other one was, I think it was an 8-year-old boy, I think, or 9-year-old. And they were very poor. They both had rags on for clothing and so forth. But that 7-year-old girl inspired so many of us in that space, because there were so many of us from overseas sharing that home. And she went out, and a lot of us had where's she going? It was like 5 a.m. You could hear the samba rhythm in Brazil. And and I had a sense to go and follow her. So we all followed her. And then she was dancing with so much passion on the street. She had her eyes closed. And we just, like, whoa, what's this energy and this passion? We just circled her. And all of a sudden, this other tourist came and circled her as well. And we thought, this is magical. It was just the energy and her connection to music that really drew us. And and then after a while, she opened her eyes and saw that there was all these people looking at her. She just freaked out and she ran back into the house.
Oh.
So it was for her, it was that sense of being looked at and thinking, judged, or I'm not sure what was going through her head. In my head, it was that, but in her head, it would have been something else. And for that moment, I'm thinking, wow, and that young girl always said to me, because I used to show her what we used to do back in Australia Dance, she would say, not here, here.
Got it.
Dance from here. And I remember that. And then when I was in Argentina, I saw a tango show in Buenos Aires. And it was fantastic. They were technically perfect. They were doing flips and jumps, which, tango for me is about connection between two people and the music.
Yep.
And so I felt, even though I was inspired by what they were doing, they were amazing athletes, amazing dancers, but I felt that something was missing. So when I left that hall, slightly disappointed by not experiencing that connection that I believe tango was about, there was a lot of stray animals in Buenos Aires and a lot of stray dogs. And I remember one dog was trying to get food out of a bin, so I went to try and help it to undo the bin so the dog could get fed. As I went there, I heard this tango music down this alleyway. There's curved alleyways, which you can't see straight, so you have to follow the alleyway and the curve to see where that music was coming from, and I was drawn to it. And I followed it on my own. I think, I'm not sure where I'm going, but all of a sudden, when the alleyway, music was getting louder, all of a sudden I saw two elderly people, they must be in their 70s or 80s, dancing tango. An elderly gentleman, he must be in his 90s at least, with a small squeeze box, up against it was like a little bar, it was open on the outside. And I was watching this couple dance, and I just had tears in my eyes because the connection between the dancers and the musician was one. And you could feel it, you could sense it. And I'm saying to myself, these guys need to be on stage to bring back the sense of connection to music, connection to each other. So
bringing you back to your situation in that circle.
Yeah.
You remembered all this?
I remembered all that. That was after the first round.
Okay.
And I had a passion for theatre, and so did my partner at the time. So we thought, you know what? Let's do what we're passionate about, and let's
tell a story.
Tell a story. Bingo. So we did. So we started to dance a salsa. We knew some basic steps, and we started telling the story. And I had a rose. She tried to get it. I moved it away. I did a turn with her, and we did a few dips here and there. We started to create a story. And for that moment, since after round one, everything was a blur because we were in something. And in the second round, before the second round started, I said to my partner, you know what, stuff this, let's not get into the middle of the circle, let's get out in front of the judges and the crowd, and if we're going to lose it, we're going to lose it with a bang, do what we love doing. So we did it. And we got through to the fifth and final round. Don't know how. It was, From the round two onwards, it was all a blur. We were in some kind of, world at that point. And on the fifth round, we had our bib, and which our number was 7, which is my number, 7. Yeah. And the last song was played by the band by memory. So the band played the music. We were dancing, and halfway through the round, the entire audience were chanting 7. And so the judges in the end had to make a decision, because I think there's only 3 couples left, which included us in the final round. Yeah. They awarded us the Latin American Salsa title.
Oh, good idea.
Just like, what? And some of these guys have been training, for years for this, and we walked out with the title. And
so did that? Okay, so did that obviously lead to this? So let's explain that.
Yeah. Okay. So winning that title, I knew I was on the right path. So dance was what I started off with, and theatre. And so what I did, I won the title. In fact, I told my dad, I won a Latin American Salsa title.
Yeah. How do you react?
He turns around and goes, "Is it the world?" Goes, "No, it's not the world title." Well, until you will win the worlds, it's not much use.
Yeah.
But this is my dad. He always would dangle the carrot further and further. So in the end, I decided, you know what? I have a passion for theatre. I have a passion for dance. I want a title. What do I want to do? So I drew a picture of what I wanted to do. So I drew a village, a town, me dancing in it with some wine barrels and so forth. I drew that. And I kept that to myself.
Yep.
Let's go forward now to 2016. And even though I had a passion for dance, I was teaching at different studios. I was teaching my own studio. I had a studio in Brunswick. But I knew it was time to take the next step and just go for the plunge and find this theatre. Because I wasn't getting any younger, and I'm thinking, I don't want to spend too many years looking. I just want to grab one, make it work, and make it happen. If it's not going to happen now, it never will.
Yep.
So I went for it. I went to so many open spaces for auctions, for sale, warehouses, churches, old theatres. I went berserk. So I came across this one here in Fairfield. This one was available for sale or lease, and it was for quite some time. It was just so expensive to buy, and the lease was very, very high.
Yep.
And if you were going to buy, they offered it as a 30-day settlement only.
Right.
I'm thinking, wow. So I ignored this one for a while, and then in the end, I ended up coming back here because I missed out on I actually went to another place. It was a theatre, an old theatre in Preston. Mm-hmm. I had won the auction, went down to sign the paperwork, and the vendor decided not to sign his half. Decided he want more, so he said no.
Yeah.
But that place was more from a headspace because it was an old theatre. My gut didn't have that strong feeling, whereas this one had a strong gut instinct, but my ego, my head was saying, it doesn't look like a theatre to me. Anyway, my new partner, who I am with, who's my wife now, she said, listen, I think you need to follow. She said, she had a good feeling about it as well, this place here.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I lost that auction there. I might as well, what I've got to lose.
Yeah.
So I remember my mother also said, just follow. There's something about that place. Because I shared it with my mother, not my dad. My dad was never supportive of this move. And so I said, you know what? Okay. So I came here. I said to the agent, listen, I want to come and look at the place. The agent said to me, okay, this is how much we want.
Yep.
30-day settlement.
Yep.
Or lease is this much. I said, I'm not leasing it. There's no way I could afford that. And he goes, are you in that ballpark figure? I said, yeah. And I wasn't, clearly.
Yeah.
He came in. Now, there's a roller door at the entrance of the warehouse, and he opened the roller door for me. When I saw this space, it was a derelict open warehouse, broken concrete. It was just a mess.
Yep.
But that image of that drawing I drew of a city, of a town, of me dancing, came alive in my vision. It's like,
Which is this?
Which is this?
Yeah. This is the end result of that.
This is the end result.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, here it is. This is the place. And I thought my gut instinct was right, and I had the right supports around me to encourage me to follow through with this. I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? I can't afford what he's asking. So I went around the warehouse trying to think, I can sell my car, I can sell my little tiny shack I've got in Brunswick. So I put those sums together, and I said, I need about 6 months to get my stuff together to sell the place that I had in Brunswick. I gave it to the agent. He looked at it. He goes, what's this rubbish? I said, I told you how much we're looking for. I told you the 30-day settlement. This is nowhere near what we're asking for. And you had the nerve to ask me for 6 months settlement. He told me to get out.
Oh.
So in not too friendly terms, he told me to get out because I basically lied to him, he told me, which I sort of did, I guess. I mean,
No, you made him an offer.
Yep.
And it didn't suit him.
Didn't suit him at all. Yep. So anyway, I went back to Brunswick where I was living at the time and told my wife. And she goes, I don't think it's finished yet. So she had something about it that I didn't have. I goes, what are you talking about? He just told me it was blah, 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 blah. I was losing it because I just lost the auction in Preston and now I've lost this one, I felt anyway. And then all of a sudden he rings me back, the agent.
Yeah.
I looked at the phone, ignored it, didn't want to answer it because of the way he told me to basically get out. And then he rang me again. He just kept ringing and my wife goes, just answer the phone. I said, all right. So I answered it thinking, oh, he's going to yell at me again. And the agent goes, hello, it's me again. First of all, I need to apologise for my behaviour. And he explained the situation. He's been trying to sell the place or lease the place for so long that he's over it. And he goes, I just, I have too many people who waste my time with the place.
But you had made him a firm offer.
I made him an offer that was nowhere near what he wanted, but it was in writing. So anyway, I gave it to the vendor, and the vendor laughed at it initially, thinking it's a joke. Told him to get rid of it. But then he came across my surname that was on the actual offer, so I had to print my name on there.
Yeah.
And he goes, stop. I know that surname. He goes, ring him back. And Angie goes, I can't ring him back. I told him off for the stupid offer. And he goes, ring him back. So the agent, that's why the agent rang me back. He goes, the vendor wants me to ask you a few questions. He goes, he recognises your surname and he wants to know whether your dad's name is Angelo.
Oh, no. You're kidding me.
I'm thinking, yeah. He's also asking whether your mum's name is Eva. I'm thinking, well, initially I went through my mind. He goes, these are the mafia family. They're going to kill me for the stupid offer I made. That's where I was going. I'm thinking, why else would he be asking these questions? And he says, no, we need to chat, need to talk. So I said, let's get together again. So we got together again here at the space. And he said, this is the story. So the vendor's family and your father's family come from the same village in Italy.
You're kidding me.
Called Santo Famia in Abruzzo, which is only a small town.
Right.
And I said, yeah, and does that mean I've got the place? That's where I was going with my ego at that point. And he goes, no. Back in World War II, your father's family's house, it was destroyed during the war, and so was their land, because they all had farms and growing crops. But a majority of my dad's house was still livable, so you could still live in there, get shelter and so forth, which is quite horrific during winter because it would be snowing there.
Yeah.
So it was quite difficult at that time. Whereas the vendor's family's house was only 300 metres down, approximately. Their house was destroyed and they couldn't revegetate their land because it was so badly damaged during the war. So my dad's family took them in.
Wow.
Brought them in, gave them shelter, clothing, got them to work on the farm to revegetate and so forth. So the land. And he said, he goes, I've never forgotten what your father's family
had done for him,
did for our family in World War II.
Wow.
And he said, what goes around comes around. So he said, based on that, we'll accept your offer.
Wow.
And so this is how this venue came about. So it was through my father unknowingly. But see what I did though before, sorry, you're going to say something?
Well, no, I was going to ask you, did you tell your father about this?
Afterwards. But I think what happened, before I was looking for the venue, my father and I never had a really good relationship. And then as I got to know my father more through my mother about his upbringing, I knew that my father was in pain because he couldn't follow his passion for his music as much as he wanted to.
Yep.
And he could see that I was going down that track. He tried to protect me from maybe getting hurt like he did. And so he tried to deter me from going into theatre and dance. What I did before I got this venue or got this place is I wrote a story through dance and theatre about my dad's story coming from Italy to Australia in 1950. And I toured that around Australia. It was called Ciao Italy. And I think we bonded really strong after that because I took my dad to a theatre, Carolika in Ringwood it was, and I remember there was about 300 or 400 people. And I said, I'll dedicate this show, which is about my dad, to my father who's in the audience. And he stood up and everyone clapped and so forth. I think that's what really brought that bond back between me and my father. And then it was after that I started looking for a theatre space because I used to tour my shows. And in fact, before I found this, I was using manifestation principles where if I can create my own theatre and pretend it's my theatre, that'll be a start. So before I actually got into this space or looking for a space, I built my own little theaterette. It's a red theaterette, which I've got at the back. And it's a little theaterette that I will take with me when we used to do shows to feel like every place I go into would be my theatre. And I've got that as an iconic feature in the back room. But going back to this, when we got the property here, this building that you see here, which I call it the piazza, represents the connection of my father and the previous vendor's village. They have a piazza in there.
So actually, I got it wrong. It's more like an Italian village.
It was based on an Italian village. So this corner store here behind me represents my mother's shop, because my mum had a corner shop.
Got it.
And so
Okay.
I wanted to put that in here as well. So
this is interesting. So this is all evolved because of your family history.
yeah,
Wow.
unknowingly. So, one part of the wall represents my dad's home.
Yeah.
One represents my mother's shop that she grew up in Italy.
And then your neighbours who you took in, or your father took in.
Yeah.
And then you've come across the other side of the, well, not you, but your family's come across the other side of the world, and it's all sort of collided again, and then this is the end result.
This is the end result. So it's almost like honouring that connection. And they did have a huge reunion after that. My father and then the vendor came together.
Oh, and how did that go?
Oh, extremely well. It was just like, what? And I just couldn't believe that the connection back then in World War II,
Right.
they really lost contact from each other after
Yep.
the war.
Yep.
And to reacquaint here through this property was surreal. And what made it really bizarre is at the time, because my sister would be in Italy during some times, because she'd be teaching how to translate English and
okay.
Italian.
Yep.
So she'd help some of the locals learn English. And I remember she said, now if I get this story right, is she, when she was in my dad's town in Santo Fermi, she would stay in my dad's house because dad still had his house there. And so my sister would stay there sometimes when she'd be teaching locals English.
Wow.
That was part of her work because she loved touring Italy. So she used my dad's house as a base. And there was a time that she was needing extra work, and she replied to an advert in the local paper in Santo Fermi. I think it was cat sitting or dog sitting, I can't remember. She was, I think, let's call it dog sitting, I'm pretty sure it was. But then she realised that the dog sitting,
Oh, no.
oh yes, the dog that she was sitting for was living in the vendor's house, which he still had in Italy. It was his daughter that my sister was dog sitting for, and they became really good friends. And I told my sister this, and she freaked out because that's the sister of the vendor who I am dog sitting in. Like, this is really out.
This is why I love doing this. I love uncovering stories. I really do. This is incredible. I love this.
Yeah. I think it's great.
For the sake of it, because I generally try to keep these short, but this is going to be a long one. But so let's move on now.
Yep.
So you've this is a business you run. So what do you actually what do you do?
Here.
Yeah.
So it started off as because I learnt, because I'm a set designer and builder as well, so I decided to create different themes. So I started off obviously with the piazza being that connection between the two,
Yep.
the vendor and my father's family. And then Sharon, who's my wife, we had this passion for medieval. I toured around the world, and I had a real taking for London and Ireland.
Got it.
Which is why we did that sort of alleyway walking up.
Yep.
Has a sort of London Ireland feel. And the back theatre has got a medieval theme. So Sharon, she comes from Malta, and she wanted a medieval theme. I loved medieval as well, so we thought, okay, let's do medieval. So we've got the medieval presentation theatre area. We've got the little mini. People say this looks like Diagon Alley from Harry Potter. I said, well, yeah, sort of. Yeah, you could say that. So we've created that sort of English, Irish laneway. The Spanish wall, the orange wall on this side.
Yeah, I've noticed that. I saw that the other day when I was here. I noticed it, and yeah, it's interesting. And even this little room here is different. Like what gets me about this place is that each room or each area has almost its own character.
It has. It represents a different part of our journey. So that Spanish wall is because I fell in love with Spain and the flamenco dance.
Okay.
So that represents that wall there. This here, I really loved Spain. I loved France. So this is quite diverse in terms of how it's being built. Yeah, it's a piazza in Italy.
Well, this is the thing. So, to be honest with you, at first, my impression would be a Paris type, as I said. But thinking about it, because I've been to Italy, and yeah, this could very easily be an Italian
Yes.
Little restaurant you're in and so forth. So, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the canopy we've got here, I put there because I fell in love with France, and France had all these little canopies, so I put that there.
Got it.
That barn over here was where Dad used to keep his donkeys and his animals in Italy. So that was a stone. So that's why it's got the stone feature.
Oh, I see. So each part of it's got some sort of
History
okay.
behind it. And the chapel, when you go towards the back, is the chapel that's represented in my dad's town. So I put the chapel in there as well.
Okay.
So that, with a fusion of different journeys when I was overseas, I just keep adding things. And obviously Sharon from Malta, she's very good at adding the visual touches, as you can see around here. Yeah. And she's behind all that as well. So between us, we make a pretty dynamic team where...
So my question now is, what does this get used for?
Well, initially it was a dance studio space, but with this here, it draws in filmmakers, photographers, wedding photography. We do themed events now. We did a VIP Italian experience this year where we converted this whole little space here into an Italian village. So we had actors coming through the windows, we had Italian musicians, we had all these argy-bargy Italian comedy coming through while people were experiencing an Italian meal, and we had an Italian band playing, which is like a two-piece piano, accordion and singer. And so we created an Italian atmosphere in here. And that's not to say it's going to stay Italian, because we'll have to do a Spanish night here.
Yeah, so you'll change it accordingly. You'll dress it accordingly?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. At the moment you see it as an Italian theme.
Yep.
Also, when you go through the alleyway, we convert that into a little Halloween potion making
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
setup,
That makes sense,
where you've got the old English cobblestone.
And I can
laneway.
see how, especially that big room at the back,
Yep.
you could stage that. I could see how you could set dress that for anything almost. That's such a big space.
It is. We'll do our theatre shows at the back there. So, behind the black curtain, there'll be a 3-tiered system where people can sit. And so it creates 100-seat capacity for you to view a theatre show. But that can be used for all different things.
Yeah, I can imagine. I really could,
Presentations. But it's all themed.
Well, look, I'm going to wrap this up now, but give you the opportunity. Is there anything else you want to tell me about it? Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. The name, Ela Rose.
Oh, yes. Yeah, when I won the salsa title, I had to think of a name because I wanted to create my own studio space so I could start getting into the theatre and dance. And I spent months and months, 6 months, there was nothing. Nothing was coming to me that would really grab. So it wasn't until 2 a.m. I woke up during my sleep and this name just came to me.
Oh, seriously?
Ela Rose. And I wrote it down. Next morning it was still there, Ela Rose. And I'm thinking, that's the name of my studio. I have no idea where it came from.
Doesn't matter. It came from somewhere and that's good.
Yeah. And Ela Rose is the name it became, and that's how it stuck.
Okay, well, look, I think, if you don't mind, I really appreciate this, and we'll wrap it up. And audience, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And thank you to Cliff for the opportunity.